Dear forum participants, as we are going to start the panel shortly, may we ask you to kindly proceed to the plenary hall. Thank you. Dear forum participants, please be seated. The middle corridor panel will start shortly. Thank you. Dear forum participants, please be seated. The middle corridor panel will start shortly. Thank you. Dear forum participants, please be seated. The middle corridor panel will start shortly. Thank you. Dear forum participants, please be seated. The middle corridor panel will start shortly. Thank you. Dear forum participants, please be seated. The middle corridor panel will start shortly. Thank you. Dear forum participants, please be seated. The middle corridor panel will start shortly. Thank you. Dear forum participants, please be seated. The middle corridor panel will start shortly. Thank you. Dear forum participants, please be seated. The middle corridor panel will start shortly. Thank you. Dear forum participants, please be seated. The Middle Corridor panel will start shortly. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, please welcome the moderator of the Middle Corridor panel, Ms. Geeta Fakhri, international broadcast journalist with TRT World.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this session of the Silk Road Forum, the Middle Corridor, from reliable to impactful. I'm Geeta Fakhri, and I'm delighted to be moderating this discussion. It is also my great pleasure to welcome our distinguished panelists, Their Excellencies Maryam Kevrivishvili, the Minister of Economy and Sustainable Development of Georgia, Rashad Nabiev, Minister of Digital Development and Transportation of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Nurlan Sanranbayev, Minister of Transport of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Osman Bayraz, Deputy Minister of Transport and Infrastructure of the Republic of Turkey, and last but not least, Yingming Yang, Vice President of the Asian Development Bank. Welcome to all of our distinguished panelists, and forgive me for any mispronunciation of your names. It's a great pleasure to be here with you on the stage as we focus on one of the key issues during the Silk Road Forum, the Middle Corridor, which has been hailed as the shortest trade route connecting Asia and Europe, an emerging alternative to the long-established northern and southern routes. But is it really a game changer? Can it reach its full potential and become a truly viable, reliable link between Europe and Asia? Well, countries in the region along the corridor aren't waiting for an answer. In fact, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, and Turkey have already laid out a roadmap for the next couple of years through 2027, while both the EU and China have stepped up their engagement and their investment. But just how crucial are international financial institutions in turning ambition into delivery? Can they provide both the confidence and the capital the corridor needs to go from promising to powerful, from reliable to impactful? Our host nation, Georgia, we heard this morning, has outlined its vision for peace, prosperity, and partnership, and increased connectivity, forging its place as a regional hub for trade, transit, and energy, and the flow of ideas as well between East and West. Over the next 90 minutes, we'll hear from senior officials from those countries, along with one key financial institution, the Asian Development Bank, which is helping fund the corridor's infrastructure and efficiency. Momentum is building fast. In 2022, transit volumes along the corridor jumped by 150%. But can this growth be sustained when it's still under 10% of the capacity of the Russian-dominated northern route? The World Bank estimates the corridor will need $28 billion in investment over the next 15 years, most of it for railways and ports. Yet key challenges persist. There are geopolitical tensions, uneven infrastructures, and diverging regulations. How do you harmonize those? And how does the region close a $20 billion funding gap to turn the Middle Corridor into the competitive, connected artery that it is meant to be? What are the strategic implications of the US-brokered Armenia-Azerbaijan peace deal? Does it enhance the region's balance of power, or does it complicate it? Now, as we begin, we welcome your insights. How do you see the corridor's challenges and what's needed to overcome them? So before we start, please connect your devices to the forum's Wi-Fi. You can also scan the QR code on the screen, or use the link provided on your badges to join our live poll as well. Our question is, how can the Middle Corridor increase its effectiveness and impact? Is it by reducing operational inefficiencies, by increasing investment in infrastructure, or by enhancing policy coordination? So cast your vote and feel free, of course, to change it as the discussion unfolds. So let's begin with our discussion here on stage. Let me turn to you first, Minister Kivlevishvili. Georgia, we heard this morning from the Prime Minister, has been investing quite heavily in its transport infrastructure. It's modernizing its railways, expanding ports, and upgrading its maritime facilities. All of this in order to increase the volume of transportation and increase the level of connectivity. How will these so-called strategically significant projects enhance the overall impact of the Middle Corridor, and how do they benefit Georgia and its neighbors?
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. First of all, before we start moving into actual panel discussion, I would like to use this opportunity to thank everyone who participates in this very important forum, a 5th edition of the Silk Road, and we're so excited as a nation to be able to host more than 2,300 delegates from 73 countries. And with this also, I would like to use this opportunity to give out very warm welcome and special warm welcome to my dear friends and colleagues who are sitting today with me at the panel discussion. And really it is symbolic that when we speak about the importance of the Middle Corridor, these are exactly those partners and the partner countries and dear friends of ours with whom we join forces to make sure that the route itself becomes even more competitive, and the route itself brings very big value to each of our countries among all, and of course unite us even more. Like you rightly said, our government is very much committed to make sure that we develop all the strategic projects that contribute into strengthening the Middle Corridor. And when we speak about the role of Georgia, of course, as government, we want to make sure that we emphasize and we strengthen Georgia's role within the Middle Corridor. And with that, of course, our first commitment is to make sure that we have very clear alignment with our partner countries, would it be Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and we have this regular conversations. We've joined forces to make sure that we identify the existing bottlenecks and how do we overcome those bottlenecks. So that's one. Second, once we identify them, what are the timelines engaged and what are the areas where every country does its own homework? And then the last one is, of course, when it comes to our part, on Georgia's part, you mentioned that we have significant, extremely important, massive infrastructural projects going on, which of course is extremely important for our country's economic further development, but second of all, it contributes significantly within the Middle Corridor. So while mentioning significant infrastructural projects, of course, I would need to highlight 4 crucial projects. First, that would be, of course, modernizing our Georgian railway. As you know, we've also already invested heavily in modernizing Georgian railway. With this, we've managed to double the capacity of the Georgian railway, but this is an ongoing working process. Within upcoming years, the government of Georgia will continue to invest significantly in making sure that Georgian railway has more infrastructure, more access to finance in order to be able to carry more goods, more cargo goods, in order to be a good partner among the Silk Road, but at the same time for Georgia to make sure that we continue strengthening our position within the region as a transit hub and as a country which connects east to west. At the same time, we have demonstrated our full commitment to build an extremely important project, which is Anaklia Deep Sea Ports, which will be a very big contributor into our operations when it comes to the seaport operations. With that, our due date is, just to give you a brief update, we are currently, as we speak, investing in upgrading the infrastructure on ground. We are doing the dredging and the breakwater, investing up to $200 million USD in it. We are estimated to launch Anaklia deep sea port by early 2029, hopefully maybe by late 2028. And Anaklia deep sea port will grant huge opportunity to our country's economic further boost, but at the same time will grant us opportunity to be able to carry and transit more goods. Third, I would need to highlight one of our key important new initiatives, which is to build a new greenfield airport. As you know, our country's economy is growing, and most importantly, some of the crucial sectors of our economy are growing even faster. And I would, of course, need to highlight the importance of the transport sector among tourism sector, which are, of course, those sectors that have biggest contribution within the economy, but at the same time have demonstrated the biggest growth on yearly as well as the quarterly basis. So as we see that tourism is growing and as we see that passenger traffic is growing within our 3 international airports, we have made our assessments, economic feasibilities, and government of Georgia made a decision to build a new greenfield airport with a capacity of 20 million. That would be actually 4 times bigger than of what we currently have in the capital. Currently, we've started pre-assessments, technical assessments, and we've estimated to fully launch the new airport operation by early 2032. So this will also grant yet another opportunity of our country to reinforce and strengthen our positioning as transit logistic hub, both for cargoes as well as for passenger direction. And of course, last but not least, we continue our commitment in upgrading the infrastructure, which refers to highways, connecting Georgia to the rest of the world, but at the same time making sure that we have good infrastructure to connect regions with one another, which of course brings very big value, first of all for our country, but at the same time brings great value to the middle corridor. And with that, of course, just to wrap it up, these are some of the key highlights, let's say, of the project, that of the bigger picture where government of Georgia continues its commitment. We are committed for the great partnership that we have with our partner countries. I think the route itself is extremely competitive, but of course there are particular areas where as time goes by and as traffic is moving forward and demand is increasing, we're trying to make sure that we adapt, we face it, and then we make sure we reflect on it.
Minister, let me ask you, I mean, you've given us more than a few highlights about all of the massive infrastructure projects that you are working on in order to build the efficiency and make the middle corridor even more robust than it currently is. And it's all being done, you say, in an increasingly cooperative spirit with regional players. When we met a couple of years ago, momentum and ambition were running very high, but so were the hurdles. Today, how significantly has Georgia and other neighboring countries overcome many of the hurdles? What is still the most important factor that hasn't yet been achieved?
Well, I believe we have jointly, and I will use this word, that this has been a great teamwork demonstrated by all of the partner countries, and I think that we have so much progress, and we have demonstrated so much competitiveness as a union and as a route. But of course, as we move forward, I believe that it is a working process, because the world itself, especially when we speak about the transport direction, it is extremely competitive. And we need to make sure that every day we face the reality, and every day we basically sit down and see what else we can do to make sure that we are more competitive. Of course, when it comes to transport, the seamless operations are crucial. And I think one of the crucial topics that currently our country, among other partner countries, are emphasizing is digitalizing the services to make sure that starting from the end user till the receiver, the process is seamless, efficient, and cost efficient. So I would highlight these 3 matters, and as I said, this is always a working process, but to address one crucial topic, that would be digitalization.
Thank you, Minister. Moving on to Azerbaijan's role along the middle corridor. Minister Nabiev, your country sits at the heart of the corridor, straddling both east and west, rich in resources, strategically located. How does your long-term vision for this important transit route align with Georgia's, and how does the recent peace agreement with Armenia impact it?
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be back in Tbilisi and be a part of such distinguished panel. As we have heard several times today from distinguished audience, that Silk Way, it's not about the Silk Road, it's not about the route, it's a bridge which actually connects the nations, people, and most importantly about the cultures. And over the last 2 decades, especially since we have gained our independence, we have been doing everything possible to attract the attention of our partners, both in East and West, to the importance of the Middle Corridor, and the statements we have always been making that Middle Corridor is not an alternative, but it's one of the main arteries which is connecting West and East. But unfortunately, our partners in East, especially in the West, they have always treated this route as not an artery, but they have always treated this kind of a complement to the northern route. And they just neglected the fact that the Middle Corridor can be much more important than the northern route. And since 2022, we have started seeing interest of Western countries into the importance of this route. But before that, Azerbaijan had been doing everything possible to make sure that when the time comes, we're ready to implement our obligations. And we actually renovated, I would say, the full infrastructure when it comes to the railways. We have built thousands of kilometers of railways. We have built up today, as Prime Minister mentioned, 9 international airports, and 3 of them have been built quite recently in liberated territories. We have went beyond, and which has also mentioned here, we have went beyond our own perimeter and invested into the infrastructure of our friendly and neighboring country, Georgia, by investing nearly $1 billion into the Baku-Tbilisi-Kars railways. But having been doing this, we have also tried to align all the partners on East and West. It's not about making sure that they acknowledge the fact that it's not about the infrastructure. It's also about aligning all our bureaucratic flow as well. So what we have done, we have worked closely with our partners in Kazakhstan and especially Georgia, to which I'm very much thankful, to make sure that the existing infrastructure is being utilized at its full scale, and at the same time, we make sure that things when come to the soft part of it, like customs, state border control arrangements, etc., they are also being a matter of our focus. And as numbers have shown to us since 2022, the volume of the cargo moving through our territory has increased almost 5 times. When it comes to container business, in 2023, we had only 1 or 2 block trains coming from China and passing through our territories. Last year, the number was nearly about 280, and 9 months of this year, 290. And the end of this year, we are going to have around 400 container trains passing through our territory, and that's not the limit. We do have a plan. So when it comes to the number of the days, how it takes to train to live at the border of China with Kazakhstan and reach the ports of Poti and Batumi, when we started, the number of the days was nearly about 53. Now we have managed to bring it to 15 to 18 days, but that's also not limit. Being in Brussels last week, I've heard from our colleagues there that they are very much interested to bringing it down to nearly 14 days. And the good news is that that's manageable. We have worked together in August with railways of Georgia and Kazakhstan on the corridor. We have attracted the consultancy company who helped us to make an audit the whole route, border of Kazakhstan, ports of Poti and Batumi, and our Khalkalaki terminal. And we identified all the bottlenecks when it comes to the infrastructure and also to the bureaucratic bottlenecks. So now we have signed in September a roadmap with specific action items to be taken between now and year 2028. And we are very much confident that if all of those articles and all of the items that we have identified for ourselves being met, the volume of the cargo moving through this territory can be tripled within a very short period of time. That's not only about it. We are very much interested as a country in diversifying the routes capabilities, and the southern route, which is about the Zangezur corridor, is also under the discussion, not discussion. On August 8th, it was materialized, and yesterday we actually, first time ever since we gained the independence and since we have been in the war with Armenia, we allowed the Armenian grain to pass through our territory. So there's a big perspective in the development of Zangezur corridor, which will add additional 15 million into the capacity. Now, the last point on my side would be, as Mariam has already mentioned, it's making sure that we're not over-investing, which actually requires from us further alignment of our infrastructure capexes. And yesterday was at the presence of two presidents, President of Kazakhstan, President of Azerbaijan. We have agreed that we will address the bottleneck in the Caspian Sea by establishing the JV between us and Kazakhstan to bring the super ferries into the game, by bringing the cost of the per unit substantially down, nearly 1.5 to 2 times down. And the last point probably would be, we have already established a JV which is very much focused on commercializing the whole route, and that's all about the tariffs. We do have now aligned tariffs between the three parties, as Mariam has already mentioned, and that's all being made in the interest of our customers, of our partners, and I'm very much confident that as we build this confidence, because the businesses are very much managed by the expectations, they will make sure that the middle corridor, as we envisaged at the beginning of our venture, that it's not an alternative to the northern route, but it's a first choice when it comes to move the cargo between east and west.
Minister, let me ask you then how the steps that your country is taking are complementing those taken by other regional players. We heard today from both the prime ministers of Azerbaijan and Armenia how important it is to work in a spirit of cooperation rather than competition. And of course, as you mentioned, peace and security are extremely important to make this route more reliable than it currently is, perhaps. What role do you see for the proposed Zangezur corridor? Can it fill one of the missing links and boost the corridor's overall reliability?
I think the good news is following. All the parties have already understood that it's all about being interdependent. So we do understand the fact that we are very much interdependent on each other's success. That's my number one point. The second point is that we also have the chance to discuss earlier with Mariam that the southern route in Norway is going to compete with the northern route. So actually, Zangezur corridor is not going to be an alternative to ports of Poti and Batumi or Baku-Tbilisi-Kars. It's actually going to add additional trust to the corridor as whole, because if I'm a customer sitting in China, if I want to make sure that my cargo arrives at point A, we're targeting the Europe at any point in time, so I want to have different alternatives from the companies like Qatar, Georgian Railway, and Azerbaijan Railway. In this sense, I think we all now understood that these corridors should be diversified even within the middle corridor, and the alignment matters, and the sense of competition should be directed in the right track. And by doing that, I'm pretty much confident that all of us will within a very short period of time, we'll see that the results will come as we move forward.
Diversification, creating better results overall for the region, you say. Kazakhstan's position makes it another pivotal nation. The government aims to triple cargo volumes by 2035 while modernizing its railway network and harmonizing tariffs with its partners. Minister Saudanbayev, just how transformative will these joint frameworks with Azerbaijan, with Georgia, and Turkey B when you look at the overall impact it can have on the Middle Corridor?
Спасибо большое за вопрос. В первую очередь хотел бы поблагодарить организаторов сегодняшнего мероприятия за отличное общее, то, что настроено, все так, все хорошо работает. И хотел бы отдельно поблагодарить министра Мариам Каришвили за приглашение на данный форум. Для нас это большое событие. 2 года назад я участвовал, и в течение этих 2 лет я часто вспоминал вот эти презентации, которые были представлены премьер-министрами. И сегодня было снова 3 ярких выступления премьер-министров, и там были заданы особые вот тренды и направления. Сегодняшняя сессия, которую вот вы ведете, она называется «От надежного к значимому». Что такое значимое? Вот, например, для Казахстана. Сегодня 7% ВВП формируется транспортом и логистикой. Задача нам поставить до 9% довести. И Казахстан показывает 6% роста экономики. Лидером и основным драйвером экономики роста является именно транспорт. Мы 23% роста экономики по своей отрасли даем. Плюс за счет крупных своих реализации многих проектов мы даем в разделе строительства, который дает 18%. И вот недавно у меня буквально с одним очень уважаемым человеком был разговор, и мне было удивительно, что есть еще какое-то недопонимание в том, что транзит – это вообще будущее для многих стран, в том числе вот для тех, кто здесь присутствует. Это большой вызов, это большие возможности, и в Казахстане мы его называем «вторая нефть». И сегодня, вот, учитывая то, что мы в этом зале находимся, я к ведущей поближе всего нахожусь, она же не только должна хорошо вести, но и за временем смотреть. И я вот ее энергию чувствую, что когда мы перебираем время, здесь еще у нас вот 2 монитора по времени стоят, но это все отражается, поэтому я постараюсь коротко сказать, что мы все заинтересованы в развитии этого маршрута, приложим все усилия. Но сегодня самым главным вопросом, который мы вот все обсуждали стороны, Грузия, Азербайджан, о том, что Middle Corridor, он состоялся, Рашад Набиевич поскромничал, у них есть очень хорошие показатели, которые там рекордные объемы, и вот те, которые объемы были перевезены, я вот благодарен всем коллегам, которые здесь присутствуют, здесь вот сидит Ирлан Хамардич, который сказал 3000 поездов, да, он по сути и дает эти все 3000 поездов. И самое главное, коридор состоялся, но нет у него вот этого межправительственного соглашения юридической институциональной базы. Это очень важный элемент, потому что это двухстороннее. Грузоотправители, когда они переориентируют свои потоки с моря в эту сторону, они хотят получить гарантированные ставки, тарифы и так далее. Наши коллеги, когда в инфраструктуру вкладывают, они говорят, а насколько этот поток, он гарантированный. И вот эти вопросы, они должны в рамках межправительственного соглашения решиться. И основной месседж, который я бы, конечно, сегодня хотел бы сказать, о том, что необходимость подготовки межправительственного соглашения, в котором участвуют все страны, это уже необходимость. Спасибо.
Very important to mention time and how important time always is. It's always of the essence. So moving along very swiftly, we asked the audience earlier today and even a short while ago about how they view the challenges and how they can be turned into opportunities depending on where the investments should come from. In terms of your government and the priorities that you place on the Middle Corridor and making it more impactful, how far can unified customs systems and digital transit tools go in creating that increased connectivity and efficiency?
Я бы хотел бы усилить вот тезис, который Рашад Набиевич сказал. Дело в том, что вот основные, да, вот инфраструктуру мы делаем, и мы добились больших побед. Когда вот мы с Рашадом Набиевичем это начинали, 53 дня шел контейнер. Мы сейчас уже где-то к 23-24 дням, новая задача 18. Но вы представляете, это вот перестраивание инфраструктуры, много вкладов и так далее. Но когда контейнер идет, вот по дороге, контейнерный поезд, его проверяют таможенники, там практически почти 50 лишних организаций могут проверять. Есть такой анекдот. Люди, которые попали в ад, периодически звонят каждый по своей работе к себе на землю, и у всех тарифы очень высокие, а у логиста, который звонит, там говорит, он звонит к своему, там у него таможенник зашел, санэпидстанция, экологи и так далее, много этих. И ему тариф, который за вот этот звонок предоставляется, выставляется самый низкий. И когда его спрашивают, слушай, у дьявола спрашивают, почему мы платим больше, а он платит меньше. И тогда дьявол говорит о том, что звонки из ада в ад, они тарифицируются как звонки местные. Вот. Поэтому у логиста и так настолько сложная работа, очень сложная работа. Ему надо урегулировать очень много вопросов. И то, что, например, сделал Казахстан, транзитные грузы, они должны быть по зеленому коридору, и у нас мораторий, который президент объявил. Это важный элемент. Мы, например, новые грузы, когда отправляем, они на границе стоят 14 дней. Мы за часы боремся, когда организовываем маршрут. За часы. А здесь, например, груз стоит на таможне, и там много очень вопросов. Таможня, санэпид и так далее. Более 50 разных разрешительных документов и так далее надо решать. Поэтому я хотел присоединиться к Рашаду Набиевичу. Нам надо очень важно, потому что это быстрые победы, быстрые результаты, там не нужны деньги, нам надо просто поработать со своими государственными органами. Груз транзитный, надо только помогать. Спасибо.
As you say, Minister, a lot of logistical issues that still need to be ironed out, but the will seems to be there, obviously. Turkey has always been the natural entry point into Europe, and now the Middle Corridor enhances that role, or does it? Ankara's new transport services promise to cut transit times by 60%, which is a major boost. What are Turkey's key projects to strengthen the network and enhance connectivity along the Middle Corridor? And how does it fit into everything else you heard on this stage today?
Öncelikle teşekkür ediyorum. Böylesine güzel bir organizasyona ev sahipliği yapan Gürcistan makamlarına da teşekkür ediyorum. Katılımcılara da yürekten teşekkür ediyorum. Bu forum vesilesiyle sizlerle aynı platformda olmaktan büyük bir mutluluk duyduğumu ifade etmek istiyorum. Bugün orta koridorun güvenilir bir güzergahtan etkili işleyen küresel çapta bir taşımacılık güzergahına dönüşümünü konuşmak için buradayız. Bu koridor sadece Avrupa ile Asya'yı birbirine bağlayan bir taşımacılık yolu değil, bölgesel işbirliğini, ekonomik çeşitliliği ve sürdürülebilir kalkınmayı destekleyen stratejik bir omurga haline gelmiştir. Biraz önce konuşmacıların ifade ettiği gibi çok önemli bir koridordan bahsediyoruz. Türkiye olarak doğu, batı, kuzey, güney akslarının kesişim noktasında tarihi ticaret ve taşımacılık güzergahlarının tam merkezinde yer almaktayız. Tarihimizin ve stratejik konumumuzun bilinciyle hem büyük ölçekli fiziki altyapı yatırımlarına hem de yumuşak yatırımlara eş zamanlı olarak orta koridorun gelişmesine katkı vermeye devam ediyoruz. Kısacası bu yatırımlardan da bahsetmek gerekirse, Türkiye olarak son yıllarda ulaştırma ve altyapısına yaptığımız yatırımlarla orta koridorun bağlantısallığını güçlendirerek Asya ve Avrupa arasındaki ticaretin kesintisiz, sürdürülebilir ve güvenilir bir şekilde gerçekleşmesini sağlamaktayız. Bu bağlamda BTK Demiryolu, Marmaray Tüneli, Yavuz Sultan Selim Köprüsü, Halkalı Kapıkule hızlı tren hattı gibi büyük projelere imza attık. Marmaray projesiyle Asya ve Avrupa arasında doğrudan ve kesintisiz biçimde kıtalar arasında bağlantıyı kurmuş olduk. Yine Yavuz Sultan Selim Köprüsü'nde karayolu taşımacılığındaki yükü hafifletmenin ötesinde planlanan demiryolu hattı ile Marmaray Tüneli'ne alternatif bir geçiş olacak. Orta koridorun yük kapasitesini daha da artıracaktır bu yapılacak çalışmayla. Dünya Bankası bir önceki forumdan hemen sonra orta koridor ile ilgili önemli bir rapor yayınlanmıştı malumunuz. Bu raporda koridordaki ticareti 2030 yılına kadar 3'e katlamak için en öncelikli yapılması gereken 10 eylemle listelenmişti. Listelenen eylemlerden biri olan İstanbul Kuzey Demiryolu geçiş projesinin ihale ilanına inşallah bu yıl içinde çıkıyoruz. Bu proje İstanbul'un ve Avrupa Asya yakalarını birbirine bağlayan, yüksek kapasiteli, ağır yük taşımacılığına uygun demiryoluna tesis edilmesini hedefleyen stratejik bir altyapı girişimidir. Halkalı Kapıkule hızlı tren hattımız bu projemizin bir tamamlayıcısı olacak. Marmaray Tüneli ile taşınan yüklü hızlı bir şekilde Avrupa'ya geçiş sağlanacaktır. 2026 sonunda tamamlamayı öngördüğümüz projeyle Asya'nın Avrupa'ya bağlantısında önemli bir eşiği daha geçmiş olacağız. Avrupa ile olan bağlantılarımızın yanında Asya ülkeleriyle olan bağlantılarımızı güçlendirmek için de çalışmalarımıza devam etmekteyiz. Bu kapsamda malumunuz bildiğiniz üzere geçmişte diğer paydaş ülkelerle beraber Bakü, Tiflis, Kars hattını hayata geçirmiştik. Orta koridorun ana arterlerinden olan bu hat sayesinde Çin'den Bakü limanına gelen demiryolu bağlantısıyla Avrupa'ya ulaşmasının da önü açıldı. Ancak BTK hattında son yıllarda gerçekleşen bakım çalışmaları orta koridordaki yük akışını yavaşlamasına yol açmıştır. Bu durum orta koridorda yeni tamamlayıcı rotalara ihtiyacımız olduğu bize açıkça gösterdi. Biraz önce meslektaşımızın ifade ettiği gibi. Bu doğrultuda Zengezur bağlantısının ülkemizdeki ayağı olan Kars, Iğdır, Aralık, Dilucu demiryolu hattının temel atma törenini geçtiğimiz aylarda Ağustos'ta Sayın Bakanımızın katılımıyla gerçekleştirdik. 224 kilometrelik bu hat Zengezur bağlantısının önemli bir parçasını oluşturacaktır. Bu yeni hat ile orta koridor üzerinden taşınan yük hacmini artırmayı ve olası tıkanıkların da önüne geçmeyi planlıyoruz. Bu hat ve BTK hattı birbirini, biraz önce değerli meslektaşımın ifade ettiği gibi birbirini alternatifin değil birbirinin tamamlayıcı şekilde çalışarak ülkemizin orta koridora daha güçlü şekilde eklenmesini ve koridorun daha aktif hale gelmesini sağlayacak. Orta koridor ekseninde son yıllarda yumuşak yatırımlar alanında da ciddi ilerlemeler kaydettik. Örneğin Gürcistan, Azerbaycan'ın ortak adımlarıyla başlatılan basitleştirilmiş usul işlemleriyle sınır geçişlerindeki süreçleri sadeleştirerek BTK demiryolu hattına işlevsel kazandırdık. Son olarak şunları ifade edeyim. Karayolunda ise koridor ülkeleriyle elektronik geçiş belgesi e-permit alanında teknik entegrasyon adımlarını attık. Görüleceği üzere orta koridorun geliştirilmesi Türkiye olarak üzerimize düşeni fazlasıyla yapmaya devam edeceğiz inşallah. Teşekkür ediyorum.
Thank you, Deputy Minister Borais. You mentioned a lot of the significant, you call them groundbreaking projects that Ankara has been working on to build increasingly reliable, efficient, and fast links between Asia and Europe, like you said, with the high-speed railed links. You also talk about the importance of technical integration. I wonder, in the age of AI, how crucial it is that there be more digital integration with your partners along the Middle Corridor in order to realize its full potential. How crucial is it?
Evet, teşekkür ediyorum. Türkiye olarak orta koridorun potansiyelini tam anlamıyla hayata geçirebilmek için bahsettiğiniz gibi dijital dönüşümü merkezine alan bir ulaştırma politikası izliyoruz. Bu bağlamda koridorun sadece coğrafi değil, aynı zamanda dijital olarak da entegre ve rekabetçi olması gerekmekte. Bu kapsamda biraz önce de ifade etmiştim, e-permit, e-GMR, tek pencere sistemi, basitleştirilmiş usul gibi projelerle entegre bir dijital koridor oluşturulması yönünde önemli bir adımlar attık. E-permit sistemiyle artık taşıyıcılarımız fiziki belge arayışına girmeden elektronik ortamda geçiş belgesini anında alabilmektedir. Yakın dönemde Azerbaycan ve Özbekistan'la uygulamaya geçtiğimiz bu sistem sayesinde daha önce günlerce süren işlemler artık dakikalara inmiştir. Zamanda sizin de ifade ettiğiniz gibi çok önemli, daha verimli ve etkin kullanabilmek için bu süreçleri de kısaltmamız gerekiyor. Bu yöntemle hem bürokrasi azalmakta hem taşımacıya hareket özgürlüğü sağlamakta. Türkmenistan, Kırgızistan, Gürcistan bu projenin dijital altyapı entegrasyonunu sağlamış. Kazakistan ile de çalışmalarımız devam ediyor. Ukrayna ve Moldova ile görüşmeler yapılmış. Avrupa Birliği'nden çeşitli ülkeler de proje ile ilgili yakından ilgilidir. Bir diğer uygulamamız ECMR yani dijital konşimento kağıt belge ihtiyacını ortadan kaldırarak sınır kapılarına verilen önceden paylaşılması işlemlerinin hızlanmasını ve teslimatların güvenilirliğinin artmasını sağlıyor. Yine Türkiye olarak orta koridordaki pek çok ülkeyle birlikte uygulamaya hayata geçirmiş bulunuyoruz. Dijitalleşme sayesinde maliyetleri büyük oranda aşağıya çekiyoruz ve bunu da öngörüyoruz. Tek pencere sistemi ise ticaretle ilgili tüm resmi işlemlerimizi tek bir platformda topluyor. Hem taşımamız için ciddi bir zaman ve maliyet avantajı hem de gümrük işlemlerinde şeffaflık ve hız anlamına geliyor. Demiryolları alanında ise basitleştirilmiş usul ve kolaylaştırılmış transit prosedürlerini uyguluyoruz. Özellikle Bakü, Tiflis, Kars hattında uygulamaya aldığımız ortak taşıma belgesiyle bir tren farklı ülkelerde yeniden gümrük işlemine gerek kalmadan tek bir belgeyle geçiş yapabilme imkanını sunuyor. Bakü, Tiflis, Kars orta koridor demiryolu hattından gerçekleştirilen demiryolu yük taşımalarında 10 Eylül 2021 tarihinden itibaren koridor ülkelerinde kullanılan farklı standartlardaki iki taşıma belgesi birleştirilerek ortak taşıma belgesinin kullanılmasına başlanmıştır. Ortak taşıma belgesi ülkemizin gümrük işlemlerinde aynı zamanda transit refakat belgesiyle işlem görerek transit rejimde basitleştirilmiş usul işlemlerinde de kullanılmakta ve böylece hem zamandan hem maliyetten tasarruf sağlanmaktadır. Son olarak bu tür dijitalleşme uygulamaları da orta koridoru hem daha verimli hem de daha cazip hale getiriyor. Türkiye'nin dijitalleşme hamleleri sadece kendi taşımacılık sektörünü değil, tüm bölgesel lojistik ekosistemini dönüştürüyor. E-permit, ECMR, tek pencere ve basitleştirilmiş usuller sayesinde ortak koridorun dijital bir ticaret yolu haline gelmesi yönünde de kararlılıkla ilerliyoruz. Bu vesileyle birlikte verimli ve daha sürdürülebilir taşımacılık zeminini inşa etmeye bütün paydaşlarımızla hazır olduğumuzu ifade etmek istiyorum. Teşekkür ediyorum.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. I mean, obviously, we now heard from all of the government representatives from some of the key middle corridor nations. We heard about their ambitious plans. We heard about the projects to further integrate, to accelerate the development along the middle corridor. But just how can international financial institutions further help to de-risk and accelerate development along the corridor? The Asian Development Bank has been instrumental since the 1990s. It's been funding transport, energy, and trade projects across the region. Vice President Yang, how will your current plan, which allocates $3.5 billion in new investments over the next 3 years, how will it reshape the corridor in the next couple of years to come?
Thank you, Madam Moderator. It's a great honor to participate in this high-level panelist discussion on behalf of the Asian Development Bank. I would like to extend our sincere appreciation to the government of Georgia for hosting this forum and for its championship in advancing regional connectivity and economic cooperation across Eurasia. In this connection, allow me also to extend our warmest congratulations to Her Excellency Minister Mariam for her personal championship in organizing this forum. He happened to be our ADB alternate governor. This year also marks the 25th anniversary of Georgia's accession to the World Trade Organization. I would like to congratulate the government of Georgia on this important milestone, which reflects its enduring commitment to open trade and regional cooperation. These principles are fundamental for the development of cross-border economic corridors. In recent years, the Middle Corridor has gained strategic relevance as a dynamic route for East-West trade, connecting the People's Republic of China with Europe through Central Asia, the Caspian Sea, and the Caucasus. Cargo traffic along the corridor experiences robust growth, and the projection indicate that this upward trend will likely be sustained over the next 15 years. This highlights the corridor's vast potential to become a major trade route between Asia and Europe. Our session today reflects the growing momentum as global supply chains are being reconfigured in response to climate shocks, geo-economic shifts, and evolving market demands. Countries across the region are seeking new pathways for growth, diversification, and economic integration. The corridor offers such a pathway, provided we invest strategically, align policy effectively, and deepen our economic cooperation. Over the past 2 decades, ADB has worked closely with member countries of the Central Asia Regional Economic Cooperation Program, the CARIC program, and the other development partners to support the development of a CARIC Corridor 2, which largely coincides with the Middle Corridor's route. Moderator has mentioned we have increased our annual lending capacity to $35 billion and according to the midterm review of Strategy 2020 last October by our board, one of the 5 priorities is to accelerate actions on promoting regional cooperation and integration. We have a new KPI in our institution. From this year towards 2030, every year, our support, our financial commitment project to the regional cooperation and integration should be reached to the target of 30%. But in addition to financing, ADB also play an important role in policy dialogue, institutional strengthening, and policy harmonization. So allow me to highlight 3 mechanisms through which international financial institutions like ADB can support the corridor's development. First, strategic investment. ADB's long-standing support has significantly contributed to the enhancement of transport infrastructure, including roads, railway, and border crossings. Looking ahead, international financial institutions should prioritize investment along the corridor that foster cross-sectorial synergies and enhance operational efficiency with a focus on multimodal connectivity, digitalization, and climate-resilient solutions. Second, policy alignment. Infrastructure investment needs to be complemented by enabling policies and regulations. International financial institutions can support governments in streamlining procedures, harmonizing customers and transit regulations, and aligning technical standards to remove bottlenecks. This will help create more predictable and efficient environment for cross-border trade and investment. And the third, regional collaboration. The corridor is a shared asset, and its success depends on partnership between governments, development institutions, and the private sector. The CARIC program offers a platform to foster trust, transparency, and joint planning to ensure that the corridor delivers benefits for all. Thank you.
Vice President Yang, you mentioned the 3 key investment priorities area. You say there are 5 altogether. To what extent does digital infrastructure, from data centers to smart logistics, play a significant role in this development? Can they be the next frontier for impact?
Indeed, I fully agree with you. They will become the next frontier. And again, coming back to last October, when our board endorsed the midterm review of our strategy 2030, another one of the 5 operational priority is to mainstream digital technology into our operations. So at the country level, we are busy mainstreaming digital technology into different operations, including smart transport, including leveraging digital technology to improve the logistic efficiency. But this is not sufficient to support digitalization as a new frontier. According to the many research findings, digital trade in digital service will become a new engine of trade and economic growth in the future. So at the regional level, we are also supporting countries to leverage digital technology and AI, not only facilitating trade in services and goods, but try to support them to engage more in regional operation by developing more digital service trade. And our CARIC member countries are very bold and ambitious. Their senior officials have demanded ADB to develop a concept paper to see whether ADB can support a digital corridor development in addition to transport corridor, economic corridor. And senior officials' ambitions does not stop here. They are also thinking about how to partially implement the digital corridor. They further ask ADB to explore the feasibility establishing a fund and funds to support private sector startups in the member countries. So private sector entities, particularly SMEs, can better participate in the frontier opportunity, which will integrate them into the higher-end value of their supply chain. So next month, CARIC program will have its 24th ministerial conference in Kyrgyz. If the ministerial conference will endorse the two proposals and many others which are related to digitalization, ADB will got a new mandate to further mainstream and deepen digital technology into its operations, not only at the regional country level, but also at the regional level. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Vice President Yang. And I think we've heard quite a bit here today about the level of ideas and projects and plans there are in play at the moment to further synergize and harmonize the Middle Corridor's policies in order to iron out the remaining bottlenecks and to break down the barriers that still persist. It's a good time now to pause before we do a second round of questions to revisit our poll. Can the countries of the region overcome the bottlenecks that remain and streamline the corridor for greater efficiency? Choose again if your view has shifted in any way. If you hadn't voted, please do so. Do you believe that the countries need to focus on reducing inefficiencies, increasing infrastructure investment, or enhancing policy coordination? Let me turn to you once again, Minister Gvidavishvili. Give me your thoughts on what you heard here and how there could be lessons learned, how countries can further integrate their plans and work better together in collaboration, because as you say, this is all teamwork, isn't it? And for you, what is the missing link? Is it political will, policy coordination, or investment? How vital is digitization to closing the gap?
Well, first of all, I'll say that, frankly speaking, I don't think there is anything missing, especially when we speak about the will, both political as well as willingness to execute. Being financially ready or by manpower. I think what really brings us together when we speak about Middle Corridor is how Middle Corridor has shaped not only as a technical route, which carries huge value to so many countries, but at the same time, really great highlight of multiple countries working extremely close with one another. So it's also a platform for so many countries to have direct dialogues, that's one. And second of all, really good demonstration of how you can transform things, not only within one country, but around one big holistic goal. So many countries joining forces, having same agenda when it comes to timelines, infrastructural projects planned. My colleagues elaborated extremely well that we have addressed so many matters that are rising while we also grow. and we grow with one another. I think that's the beauty of the collaboration that we have shaped for so many years. The comfort of every country picking up the phone, calling each other, and addressing some of the matters that make each and every of the engaged countries stronger. So I think the beauty of Middle Corridor, once again, is that there is one for all and all for one, where every new initiative or even any obstacle highlighted, once we overcome it, once we address it, we join our forces, because this reinforces and this strengthens the root and strengthens every one of us. And we do it regularly. This is also so important. But of course, it's like I said, I would repeat myself that this is a process. Ministers spoke well that the route itself has become extremely competitive. But today, when you're competitive, and this reflects to also other sectors of the economy, the art of making sure you grow is about ensuring that you continue being consistent in terms of your competitiveness. Because demands are changing, world is changing, and also the end users are dramatically growing. Their needs are also altering as digitalization also enters into so many fields. And especially the Middle Corridor has so many complexities. We spoke about infrastructure, we spoke about the importance of the seamless operations. Ministers spoke about the importance of timely operations, to not keep the goods waiting for 14 or 12 hours. We also spoke about the importance of the pricing policy, which is crucial. And at the same time, we also spoke about how do we synchronize our services, starting from the border control to customs, to taxation, and to tariffs. So I think this is a lot of components together, put it under one umbrella and combining so many countries within the same goal. And once we see that we face the same situation, we have the same people, goods, or the end users to take care of. This is exactly what has driven the whole route, and every country has demonstrated so much success and resilience and so much determination to make Middle Corridor a route which is, I would agree with my friend and colleague in highlighting that Middle Corridor is no longer an option. It has ultimately shaped itself as a great option and ultimately it's a route to connect east to west and vice versa. So in generally speaking, I think for so many countries, including Georgia, transport, logistics play so much role and carry so much value in bringing, in reinforcing the country's economies, increasing GDPs, creating new jobs. And everything that we do, what strengthens particular projects, it also boosts our economies. Earlier today, we had an honor and opportunity to somewhat show off some of the figures that our country has achieved, especially when it comes to the economy in general. And most frequently asked questions today, what I had from our colleagues and distinguished visitors was, how did Georgia manage to have such high economic achievements and being the leader in the region when it comes to economic drivers and also leader among the European countries? And the response is simple, keeping the consistency in safety and predictability, making sure that we continue investing in core infrastructure, and of course, making sure that country continues to be stable and transparent, a country which supports development of small and medium-sized businesses among domestic and international visitors and access to finance. So this all benefits to the core and big ideology of making sure that we do everything in our power to strengthen our countries, to strengthen our economies. But within the bigger picture, whatever we do, we support our partners and neighbors and dear friends from other countries to also do this.
But are all these lofty goals and ambitions translating into tangible results? Minister Nabiev, we just heard Minister Kvitashvili talk about how the Middle Corridor is no longer an option. Talk about the growing spirit of cooperation and collaboration among nations along the corridor. How promising is this moment from your perspective? How important is it to seize the moment now to deliver on many of the promises that have been made? Yes, there are projects that are ongoing, many of them highly significant, but can the region go beyond and deliver more and faster? And just as well, if you could just touch on the importance of digitization. Minister Kvitashvili mentioned it, so have many others on the stage. Azerbaijan's Digital Route project at the port of Baku aims to fully digitize the corridor. How will it improve trade flows, and how soon can we see measurable benefits?
Well, the digitalization itself has become a very buzzy word, but the fact is that it helps you to better understand how you do the things, yes? There are few companies around the world, honestly speaking, who literally know how they do the things, yes? And if you think about our venture as if we're a company delivering the services, at the end of the day, we do deliver the service to our customers, just like any company is. We have to think how we are doing our businesses. And when you start digitalizing, it's not just putting things from paper to a digital world, it's just starting thinking over and over how you're doing the things. And by doing this, you start to understand what the expectations of the customers are. And the customers are very much straightforward in their expectations. What they expect, they want their goods to be moved in a very secure manner. They want things to be in a very predictable manner. Predictability, if you say that this corridor is going to carry your goods from point A to point B within the 15 days, and you have to do everything possible that is 15 days. And you have to be very much transparent to your customers. The second would be about the transparency of your tariffs. And I think in this regard, security, yes, digitalization can play a big role in that. Predictability, definitely yes. Now we have agreed between three of us that we will be managing our plans not in a matter of 1 day or 2 days, but for the next 1 month. When you start managing things for the period of 1 month, which goods from which point are going to leave and where it's going to get to. And as volume is increasing, you don't have any choice not implementing any digital tools into the game. And when it comes to the tariffs, we will leave it to our customers, as we have started doing within the joint venture, that they will calculate which way to choose and how to choose. And without digital tools, that would be almost impossible. And as we are envisaging to grow in the coming years, the digitalization, once again, or digital transformation, whatever the way you want to name it, it's not a matter of choice, it's also an important variable of equation we are trying to solve. And we have also to acknowledge the fact that this equation will need to be solved over and over. And because the world is changing, the politics is changing, the demands of our customers are changing. And at the end of the day, the last thing that we can all do, that to leave all our customers equally unhappy. I mean, because by doing that, because there is always scarcity of resources, and no matter what you do with your customers, at the end of the day, the customers of even the better goods, just like iPhone or any other goods that we're using, they are, to a certain extent, unhappy. But we have to make sure that all the customers which are moving and using our corridor are equally unhappy, which means that we will be treating all the customers in the same way.
All right, so equal treatment, always good. It's a good start. Minister Nabiev, you suggested that implementation of important changes don't happen overnight. They take time. Given Minister Sauranbayev that 75% of Kazakhstan's transport network needs renewal, needs upgrading, and that nearly $300 billion will be required by 2040. How much time do you think Kazakhstan will require to get to the stage it'd like to? It's a very wealthy country, obviously, but beyond trade, how important is the Middle Corridor for you? What does it represent strategically? And how do you balance out ties with Russia and the EU while at the same time modernizing your infrastructure?
Я бы, конечно, поспорил бы по 75%, потому что на сегодняшний день железная дорога, состояние ее одно из лучших вообще вот в этом регионе. И мы вложили в последнее время очень много денег в развитие инфраструктуры. Сейчас порядка 35 миллиардов мы вложили. Сейчас доводим до 30 года, будет 50 миллиардов долларов. Это то, что инвестиции вложены. Причем в основном это и глубокая модернизация существующих. Там, например, если 8 поездов проходило, теперь будет 25 поездов проходить. И кроме этого, строительство новых дорог, строительство идет, которое вот Достык, Майнты, 880 там, по Дарбазам, Ахтарал, Мойнты, Кызылжар. То есть это очень большие 2500 километров модернизированных дорог. И у нас в целом по ситуации, например, если по самой железной дороге, в целом вопросов практически сегодня уже нету. До конца года вот чек, который Рашад Набиевич, про который говорил, он наоборот подтвердила, что состояние вот по железным дорогам Казахстана никаких вопросов нету. Мы работаем с крупнейшими компаниями, такими как Альстом, Ваптек. И вот Ваптек, они как большая корпорация, которая обслуживает более 90 стран, то наш парк самый молодой и самый эффективный на сегодняшний день во всем мире. Поэтому мы здесь как бы неплохо стоим. И считаю, что вот в отношении побед больших или малых не бывает. Это вот любая победа, это как множество микропобед, над которыми мы все должны работать. Я думаю, что по территории Казахстана у наших коллег ни у кого не будет вопросов. Вообще, когда мы продаем логистический продукт, у которого есть 3 основных параметра: сроки, цена и качество услуги. Сроки, вот здесь все хорошо сказали, мы работаем на сокращение, двукратное сокращение произошло, но мы и дальше должны работать, потому что мы конкурируем с морем. Море – это основной вот, транспортный маршрут, и мы сухопутными маршрутами забрали только 4% на сегодняшний день с морских перевозок. И то, что Рашад Набиевич сказал, абсолютно верно, то, что чем больше мы предложим разные сухопутные маршруты, у нас есть еще 96% морских перевозок, и чем больше будет вариации у грузоотправителя, тем больше груза пойдет через нас. Второе – это по цене. Цена является одним из ключевых факторов, и перевозка сухопутная должна быть стабильная, практически гарантированная, потому что большая волатильность морских перевозок до пандемийные $800 поднимались до 14 тысяч долларов за один контейнер. Представляете, какие скачки происходило? И это постоянно происходит, то есть грузоотправитель никогда не может быть гарантирован в отправке своего груза. А сухопутные маршруты, вот в частности некоторые наши направления, мы в течение 5 лет практически тариф не меняли. Что касается сервисной части, ну здесь основное это цифровизация, вопрос. То, что услуги, которые мы предоставляем своим коллегам, клиент должен видеть, где его груз находится, он попадает в цифровую платформу, которая предоставляет целую экосистему, там порядка 12 блоков. Он в любым таможенном этим должен расчеты произвести, получить деньги в банке, страховку произвести, отследить груз. То есть это большая экосистема. И, конечно, вот здесь очень много работы, над чем всем нам надо работать, но насколько вот правильно говорят, что мы, самое главное, все страны, мы смотрим в одну сторону. И мы вот все потихоньку идем в одну сторону и работаем каждый на своей территории. Я уверен, что у нас будет хороший результат. Я уверен в будущем нашего маршрута. Спасибо.
All looking and working in the same direction. Deputy Minister Boyraz, Turkey, as many other nations, of course, in the region, are in a volatile neighborhood. Given the ongoing geopolitical uncertainties, do you believe that the Middle Corridor can truly become the most reliable route between Asia and Europe, or is it wishful thinking?
Teşekkür ediyorum. Tam da sorduğunuz sorunun cevabı son yıllarda coğrafyamızda yaşanan hadiseler. Ona bir cevap teşkil ediyor baktığınız zaman. Kuzey Koridor'un Rusya-Ukrayna savaşı nedeniyle kapasitesini kaybettiği hepimizin malumu. Yine İran güzergahında yaptırımlar ve istikrarsızlığın olduğu Süveyş kanalında ise Kızıldeniz'deki saldırılar nedeniyle küresel ticaretin aksadığı bir dönemde Orta Koridor elbette ki çok önemli bir durum ifade ediyor. Orta Koridor'un güvenilirliğinin birkaç somut nedeni var. Orta Koridor, krizlerin yaşandığı coğrafyaları bypass ederek Hazar geçişli bir rota sunmakta. Kuzey rotasına göre yaklaşık 3.500 kilometre daha kısa ve daha ılıman bir iklimden geçmektedir. Aynı zamanda koridor üzerinde çok modlu alternatif taşımacılık kombinasyonları sayesinde tek bir tıkanıklık tüm hattı felç etmemekte ve farklı alternatifler sunabilmektedir. Yine son dönemde Avrupa ile Çin arasında ticaretin hızla artması, Orta Koridor'daki yük taşımacılarının da belirgin biçimde yükselmesine neden oldu. Orta Koridor'un son dönemde istikrarlı bir büyümeye grafiğini yakaladığını hepimiz görebiliyoruz. Uzmanlar tarafından bu artışın temel sebebinin sadece hız değil, aynı zamanda daha güvenilir bir yol olduğunu vurgulamakta. Dünya Bankası 2023 yılı Orta Koridor raporunda uyumlu yatırım ve politikaların sağlanması halinde taşıma sürelerinin yarıya ineceğini, biraz önce meslektaşlarımızın ifade ettiği gibi ve yük miktarının da 2030'a kadar yaklaşık 3 katına çıkabileceği öngörülüyor. Bu öngörü koridorun gelecekte de güvenilirlik avantajını koruyacağını gösteriyor. Ancak bugünkü güvenilirlik tartışması basit bir evet-hayır meselesi değil. Orta koridor hala kapasite kısıtlarıyla karşı karşıya. Orta koridorun üzerinden geçen yük miktarı Kuzey Koridor'dan üzülerek ifade edeyim ki yüklerin çok altında. İşte bu toplantılarda bunların artırılması noktasında önem ifade ediyor. Orta koridorda sınır ve liman geçişlerindeki gecikmeler de yaşanabiliyor. Ayrıca Hazar ve Karadeniz'deki hava koşulları zaman zaman gecikmelere yol açabiliyor. Bu durumlar güvenilirlik avantajından faydalanabilmesi için altyapının güçlendirilmesi, kapasitenin artırılması, yönetim modelinin de sadeleştirilmesi gerektiğini gösteriyor. Hep buradaki bütün arkadaşlarımızla da hemfikiriz bu konuda. Sonuç olarak Orta Koridor güvenilir bir ticaret yolu olarak öne çıkmaktadır. Çünkü jeopolitik risklerden arındırılmış bir bölge üzerinden geçiyor. Ancak en güvenilir rota olabilmesi için kapasite ve yönetim sorunlarının çözülmesi, yeni yatırımların mutlaka yapılması, çok taraflı işbirliğinin de derinleştirilmesi gerekmektedir. Türkiye olarak bu süreci bir sorumluluk alanı olarak görüyor. Hem altyapı yatırımlarımızla hem de politika uyumu ve arabuluculuk çalışmalarımızla Orta Koridor'un forumun başlığında da yer aldığı gibi güvenilirden etkiliye bir rotaya dönüşmesine katkıda bulunuyoruz diye düşünüyorum. Teşekkürler.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Let me turn finally to Vice President Yang. I mean, we've been talking a lot today about the increased connectivity along the Middle Corridor, the need to make it more reliable, more impactful. But of course, we all know the significant carbon footprint of transportation networks. How is ADB addressing some of these structural challenges, from climate resilience to multi-sector innovation, in order to ensure long-term sustainability and growth?
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Again, let me come back to the midterm review of Strategy 2030. While the regional cooperation integration is identified as one of the 5 priorities, our board members also expressed their wish we should leverage the regional integration programs to provide more global public goods like climate actions, biodiversity, cross-border infectious disease control in order to make the regional cooperation integration more resilient. And of course, there are some other structural challenges which we need to provide comprehensive solutions. Addressing those barriers require more than physical infrastructure. It demands a comprehensive approach that addresses both structural bottlenecks and long-term sustainability. As a multimodal corridor crossing multiple borders and involving diversified transport system, it faces challenges such as fragmented logistics, limited digital integration, and uneven market access. These issues can lead to inefficiency, higher costs, and reduced competitiveness. To help overcome these challenges, ADB is working with CARIC member countries to integrate digital innovation and climate resilience into corridor development. These include, for example, incorporating climate-smart technology into road transport investment and reduce emissions, promoting interoperable platform for cargo trafficking and management, enabling real-time coordination across transport modes and operators, and supporting integrated transit system and harmonization of customer procedures, including through the CARIC Advanced Transit System and information common exchange to reduce costs, enhance transparency, and facilitate seamless transit across countries along the corridor. We have discussed a lot about the mainstreaming digital technology under your capable guidance. Let me draw your attention to another dimension that is emerging, which has become very visible characteristics of our CARIC regional cooperation integration. That is green transformation. Let me, given the time constraint, let me give me an example quickly.
Just briefly, please.
ADB, together with other international development partners, is conducting a feasibility study for the Green Energy Corridor. This flagship project aims to connect Central Asia's renewable energy system with the Caucasus via a submarine cable across the Caspian Sea and eventually linked to Europe through the Black Sea cable. So I assume my current position since last January. In the past year and a half, after listening, discussing with ministers, senior officials, national coordinators of the CARIC countries, I see the emergence of a new generation of regional cooperation integration, which can be characterized as green transformation and digital development.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for also reminding us about the importance of the green energy transition. It's a good place now, I suppose, to take a last look at the poll. This is our updated poll, which has the results. And there we can see on the screen where the consensus stands, if it does at all. Well, we have a very clear front runner there. The answer with the most, obviously, responses, which got 59% of the votes, is the need to increase investments in infrastructure projects and then reduce operational inefficiencies, finally enhance policy coordination. Perhaps not a great surprise, but let me ask you, as we hear the final thoughts from our panelists, Minister Kviribishvili, are you surprised at all by these results?
Not at all.
Why not? And what do you think needs to happen now when you leave this stage? What is the key priority that you think should be worked on?
I think it's extremely hard to identify one crucial aspect out of these three matters. I would more say that three of the above, if I may use this word, because during the whole panel discussion, all of us have been repeating the same and again. Infrastructure is needed, but it's not enough if you don't add up efficiency and if you don't add up seamless operations. At the same time, manpower and right coordination. So it's, success does not lie in one particular parameter. So regardless how much you invest in infrastructure, you need to make sure that you have the other components that make the route competitive, flawless, at the same time fully comfortable for, again, end user and the sender. So we call it a comprehensive ecosystem, which combines a lot of components. We've been speaking about digitalization. So on top of everything that has been highlighted, we acknowledge the importance of digitalizing the services, which refers to the cargo movements. So yes, my response would be clear, all of the above, but not enough. So we need to work harder, we need to aim bigger, and with this, I'm pretty sure next time we meet, all of us sitting here will have so many tangible success stories to share, because as we move fast together, separately, towards the one same goal to make the Middle Corridor even more efficient and more successful for the sake of our countries and all of us together.
Thank you, Minister, for putting it so eloquently. For now, and without sitting on the fence, it's all of the above. Hopefully in the next few years, it'll be none of the above. Minister Nabiev, what's your sense about how the publics feel about this issue, and just how optimistic are you about the future of the Middle Corridor in a minute or more or less? Your final thoughts.
Well, in all my respect to the public, I think that the public is not in a position to really judge what's needed, because I don't think how many customers do we have over here, and the customers literally, usually, even if there are some customers here, they wouldn't probably know the problems from inside and out. Yeah?
They might take exception with what you say. Be careful.
Yeah, but from my perspective, infrastructure really matters. But as last 3 years has shown to all of us that sometimes we don't see opportunities within the existing infrastructure as well. Just as an example, Eilat Free Trade Port was built with a projected capacity of 100,000 TEU. And now, end of this year, we're reaching 100,000 and plus. But with specific optimizations, which we have conducted quite recently, we have brought the capacity, throughput capacity to 150,000. So I'm a strong believer, efficiency much more important than infrastructure is. And you have to stretch yourself to make sure that you get the better use of existing infrastructure for many purposes. It's just to show your shareholder that you have done everything possible to maximize their profits, their expectations, and once they're convinced on that, they will give you a next chance to increase your capacity exposure or capex exposure.
Thank you very much, Minister Nabiev. Minister Saudanbayev, your thoughts on what the most important factor is to take this Middle Corridor 1 or 2 steps further in the years ahead? Or is it all of the above?
Безусловно, все параметры важны, но мое личное мнение, что логистика – это чистая политика, большая политика, геополитика. Поэтому, если я бы выбрал бы политическое решение, если будет политическая воля, все остальные вопросы все решатся. Спасибо.
Wise words indeed. Political will, an important ingredient. Do you agree, Deputy Minister Boyraz, what for you should be the priority and the main focus?
Kesinlikle katılıyorum. İrade olmadan bir başarıyı yakalamanız da mümkün değil. Baktığımız zaman bu seçeneklerin, biraz önce yansıda görülen seçeneklerin bana göre hepsi birbirinin tamamlayıcısı. Biri olmadan diğerinin olması mümkün değil. Yani siz bu koridorlardan, farklı koridorlardan daha efektif bir koridor planlıyorsanız verimli olması lazım. Verimli olabilmesi için de yatırımların yapılması lazım. Yatırım olmadan verimi elde etmeniz mümkün değil. Yatırımı da bu bölge ülkeleri birlikte yapmazsa, eşgüdüm içinde yapmazsa, sadece Azerbaycan yapsa, sadece Gürcistan yapsa, sadece Türkiye yapsa, bir taraf eksik kalınca hiçbir anlam olmaz. Dolayısıyla bu üçünün de birbirinin bir parçası olduğunu düşünüyorum ve istikrar olmadan da hiçbir projenin de faaliyete geçeceğine inanmıyorum. Ben tekrar herkese teşekkür ediyorum. Özellikle dinleyicilerimize de çok teşekkür ediyorum. 1 saat aşkın zamanda beri sabırla dinledikleri için. Teşekkürler.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Vice President Yang, a holistic approach we heard from the Georgian minister as well as the Turkish deputy minister and pretty much everyone on stage. A holistic approach, cooperation and partnerships as well. What is the main way forward and what kind of partnerships, briefly?
Previous speaker have said, indeed, political will and political stability is the starting point for us to have the luxury of discussing and deepening regional integration. And for the three proposals, I don't think they are contradicting each other. They're complementing each other. By synergizing them together, we can have a quick wins. And in order to synergizing them, we do need a comprehensive approach. In ADB, we are following a AAA approach to synergize all of them. First, advance physical connectivity persistently through increasing and improving infrastructure facility. For example, from this year to 2028, we are going to invest about $3 billion in Middle Corridor, 750 million annual average. This compares with the $150 million a year in the past 24 years from 2001 to 2004. Secondly, accelerate soft connectivity by harmonizing policies, standards, regulations, and as well as streamlining procedures for cross-border activity. Thirdly, adopting new technology such as digital tools and AI to improve logistical efficiency and boost trade in services and goods, especially digital services, which is the engine of growth, as I have highlighted. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Vice President Yang. And so as we wrap up this session, which I hope you have found as insightful as I have, we heard optimism, we also heard realism from our panelists here on stage. And while many hurdles remain, Middle Corridor nations continue to deliver on what they have promised over the last few years, which is a reliable, resilient, impactful bridge between Asia and Europe, despite some of the political risks and the old rivalries that we have touched on today, as they continue to convince investors, both in the private and public sector, that this is a reliable, strategic route with long-term potential and momentum. Thank you to all of our panelists. It was a fascinating discussion. Thank you all for being here with us. And thank you all in the audience for sharing your insights and being here as well. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I hope my mic is off. Thank you.
Dear forum participants, allow us to remind you that the